Hey guys, welcome to We Can Relate. I'm Bryant.
I'm Twilla.
I'm Sky.
I'm Lanston.
And I'm Naya.
Yeah, not only are we related, but we're relatable. And today we're talking about parental expectations.
Yes. I think that alone can go so far when you're talking about parental expectations. So is it like parental expectations on like us as kids and what shaped us, or parental expectations, on our life as adults? Like, do we still feel like mom and dad have a set of expectations on us as grown?
I feel like they gave up on us. I think
Really?
no. But I feel like, growing up, they really want us to all go to college, and like that was not even in the question or anything. Like we knew we were going to go to college.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, after we got our degrees and everything, I think they're kind of like, just explore the world and figure out what you want.
Do you think they're like explore the world because we just started exploring the world? Or do you think it was like, I like, is it just because it's what we do and they're like, we support you? Because I really think they might have wanted like, okay, we're half African. So, dad wanted a doctor. All of us failed him. So it's kind of
I
like,
kind of got there.
He's getting a lawyer.
Lanston's in the field. And he's the teacher.
He's going to be a lawyer.
Yeah,
I don't remember him saying teacher.
He did. Because
he's proud of you. Dad is proud of you, Scholastica.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that we need to give him more credit. I think they evolved, maybe it was also sort of because they saw what it was going to be, right? But I think that they are genuinely proud of us. I don't think they feel like they settled or like they're like, ugh, I would prefer this, but
I don't think they settled. Like, I'm more so saying like, like the idea was like they're gonna go to college, as you have expectations for your life, things that you plan out. So it was probably like, we're gonna have these kids, they're gonna go to college. What I want for my kids, I want them to have a good stable job, be it a doctor or a lawyer. And then here I come and being like, but I want to be an actress who makes movies. And then they're like, oh, but that's going to be a hard life. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be famous in like 5 years. Just trust me. And it didn't happen. So, but like, they were absolutely supportive. It was like when I went to college, it was a real conversation that we had to have. Because it was like, I went to college as a business and journalism double major. And then I was like, I don't have the passion for none of this. And so, because I started taking theater classes, they were like, you can always take theater classes for the fun of it. And I took theater classes and I took communication classes and was like, I really like this. Can I major in this? And it was like, if you major in this, and I had to talk to them because they were paying for my education. So like, and then so if I was majoring, they were like, if you major in that, you really need to make sure that you're doing something serious after. And I was like, yes, I'm going to law school. Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was like a pressure though, right? It was like how I think all parents have a vision for their kids, but I think they were trying to think of like the best, fullest life for us. But I don't think it was like, you must go to college.
Yeah. I
mean, but it was definitely like almost just normalized, like, after high school, you'll go to college. And it was kind of like,
I think maybe for Twila, I think maybe Twila was the guinea pig for all of us. So they had to have that conversation with her, whereas like they didn't really have to have that conversation with anybody else. Because I don't remember.
That's not quite true, because you remember I wanted to be a singer like Christina Aguilera, and I didn't want to go to school, and they coerced me by saying, I mean, if you go now, we'll pay for it. But if you try to go later, we won't. And
that same thing happened to me. Like, I wanted to go to New York, take a little gap year, except they didn't call it gap year then. But I was like, I'm gonna go to New York and try theater acting first. And mom was like, well, the difference is we'll pay for you to go to college. We're not paying for you to go to New York. In my head, I was like, what's the difference? Like, but it was a little like.
But I feel like basically underneath it all, at the same intensity of what you said, like they weren't like, you must go. They didn't say it was, but the intensity was the same. They didn't say it maniacally and they want our best interests at heart. And they like normalized it in the household, like you said, but it was like, there's no other reality other than going to college. You know what I mean? Like, so if someone was like, I'm not going to college, you know, they might, even when they did those little manipulative tactics, right? Like, if you still were like, okay, I'm going to New York, I bet there would have been a problem. So like, I never saw any other route than going to college, you know?
I think they want you to make sure that you understood what your path though. Like if you wanted to be a starving artist, just know you'll be a starving artist. And I think that they felt like we didn't see the grand scheme of it, but as long as they felt that we really understood and walked in it entirely, I think they would have been okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, and they're really like, even now, like the fact, I think because we did go to college and, you know, go to grad school, there's a like, okay, now you have skills, employable skills. So you can go and pursue your dream. And I know you won't be hungry.
Yeah. I think because even talking about dad being African and everything and being real strict with like wanting us to go to college and become doctors and everything like that. He's usually if I tell him that I have an audition, he's gonna remember that I have auditions. Like as soon as the audition's over, he's gonna call me and ask how it went. You know? So
try not to die out.
Got a hot Cheeto in your throat. But yeah, so it's like, you know, even though he really like they always encouraged us to do those things, it's like they're still very supportive now.
Yeah, I think that like we're lucky with that. I think if we told everything that our parents wanted us to do growing up, like, or what our rules, like can't watch PG-13 till we're 14, right? Can't date till at first 16, then 18, and then, you know, had to go to church every weekend. I feel like they could sound kind of strict, but I feel like they always had like the right heart behind it, and they just wanted what was best for us. So I never felt
think that they were appropriate. I don't think they were strict because like, why should I be 5 years old watching PG-13? It doesn't make sense.
Well, no, I would have been scarred. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I do think like, but do you feel like, because we had those set of expectations, and I don't think like Skylar, like you said, they were appropriate. For some reason, people who knew the rules at our house, and I don't know if they just impacted the girls. I don't know how much the guys felt the rules, mom and dad's rules in the house. Just, you know, I don't know. But I feel
abide by them.
But I also feel like people who knew those rules would be like, oh, when you go to college, you're gonna wild out. And the fact that I didn't wild out, like they were like, oh, like I didn't have that. I mean, like whatever wild out, like I don't know, like I always felt like people thought I was gonna absolutely lose my mind when I go to college. The way they
because they understood our personalities too, because I feel like they gave Lanston a little bit more freedom, or a lot more freedom than me, because one, they thought super naive, which maybe is not a lie, but two, also because I wasn't very social. So they know I didn't need that. I didn't care if I went out.
I feel like being the oldest, the rules were a little bit more different. Like Naya, you said like there were like that strict set of rules, but some of them rules, like I feel like I got like the brunt of it, and I feel like I'm like I don't. There's nothing like I feel like I missed out on, or maybe I just had a lack of a social. Like I had friends and I hung out with friends, but I just feel like some things were just because like you're the first kid and we're gonna do everything to protect you, and I don't want. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I got the same thing. Even though we're 4 years apart, I feel like they got really relaxed, right? Like halfway through Bryant, and then the rest of them, it was just
really relaxed for you. Okay, so I went to I was able to sleep over a friend's house.
You skipped school, Naya, and they saw you.
I don't appreciate you airing my laundry like that. We did not agree to this conversation. Well, that's disrespectful right there. Yeah. That is hearsay. There's no proof that I skipped school, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
But we all know you did. Period.
So anyway, so parental expectations. Okay, so here's the thing. I think that if we're gonna get a little honest, I think that maybe in the last year or two of me being in high school, mom maybe loosened up a bit. I don't know if dad did, but it was because it was kind of a difficult time for us, for our family. So I don't think that they had the energy to maintain those level of rules, but they definitely, I also think it came with a level of trust, going back to Scala, parents knowing your personality. Mom knew I wasn't going to do anything crazy. I didn't do anything that was harmful. She knew I was going to get good grades. I literally once skipped class with my friend so that she could get enough volunteer hours at the library to get into like the National Honor Society. I went to like IHOP or Denny's, like it was mild stuff. But yeah, even like I'm not gonna get anyone in trouble, but there were 1 or 2 teachers that knew what we were doing, and they were like, "Oh, AP students, they're gonna graduate." They gave us too much of leeway, but we didn't go crazy with it. There were just no drugs or anything like that, you know? So I feel like they knew that they could trust me. But I do think I was able to go stay out later with my friends so that I could like go to Hams and Walmart, guys. Like I wasn't going to parties. They knew what I was going to do. I was able to stay over at like Michelle's house before, but it's like I'd been friends with her since 6th, 7th grade. And I always spent time there. I do think maybe in normal circumstances, they wouldn't have let me do that. But you know, just sometimes you don't have the ability to maintain all those things. I think it took a lot of effort on their part to keep.
They're really consistent overall, though. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Really, I think that scares me with the idea of having children, because I just know the amount of patience one must have to maintain that consistency and fairness.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still knew what was up. Still like education and faith. And I knew not to stray from that, you know, even though I did a little bit. I stopped going to church in college for a little bit, but I felt like it was ingrained in me, and I knew that I needed to go back eventually. So I feel like they raised us up well, train up a child.
Son.
Yeah. Yes, I probably did not go to church like all 4 years ago. Like I think
really, and I went all the time. I went like the same amount of times throughout the week.
I think like I would go maybe like twice a semester, just because. I started doing it more my senior year, because it's like I don't have to get up and go to church. Cool. Like, knowing that our home church, like Henderson Grove, was up the street, but I was like,
and I only started going to it because you told me about one church, which is where I still go now. And I was not looking. I would have still not have gone to church probably the whole 4 or 5 years that I was in school.
Yeah,
you guys are some heathens.
Whatever. You went to church?
I did go to church, yes. But
you probably needed it more.
Whatever. Naya, the reason you're able to do more things was because you had a wonderful example in me. So mom knew that she raised such a good kid that if she gave you a little bit of freedom, then you will do right. So you're welcome.
No. Lance, I don't think you use
your walk so that you can run.
No. Lance, I don't know how well you use your freedom. I feel like there was like partying involved. I feel like you just completely ignored the dating. And then mom and dad were like, okay.
Rules are meant to be broken.
He's like,
realize that.
But I feel like he would do it right to her face. He'd be like, Lanston, you can't do this. Nah, I want to anyway. Okay.
No, I feel like Lanston, like this is, and I will tell this story forever and ever because I'm still kind of bitter. Like, you know how we couldn't listen to certain stuff on the radio or on TV. And Lanston, as the oldest, it was kind of like, well, just kind of monitor what your siblings are watching. So like Lanston was like, I'm gonna watch what I want to watch. I'm gonna listen to what I want to listen to. And I remember Next Too Close came on the radio and Lanston was singing all the words. And mom looked at me like, how does he know these words? And I'm like, I don't know. How am I getting in trouble? Because Lanston.
Yeah. I didn't really pay much attention to the rules. However, I will say as an adult, I don't feel like pressure from them about, you know, like success or anything, but just doing the right things. I feel that I hear them in my head more now, you know, like, all right, if excellence is possible, good is not enough. Remember who you are, remember whose you are. I just feel like those.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
He froze.
I thought that was me.
No, I'm gonna help him out a little bit.
Remember,
he froze on us, Lance, real hard.
Oh,
we heard, remember who you are, whose you are. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have an unstable connection, but just, you know, being a good person and doing the right things, you know, I feel like those are the things that mom and dad care most about as an adult, opposed to like pressure of like finances or jobs and things like that?
Yeah, I think what's interesting, and I think I shared this with Naya, is that as the oldest, I felt like I always had to be on as an example for y'all. And even like up till recently, always feeling like I had to walk a certain line or be a certain way, to appease like mom and dad, like to live up to the expectations of mom and dad and to always be a good role model to y'all, even though y'all are grown and clearly do your own thing and clearly don't listen to me. So I don't know why I care that much, but
I was like that too, though.
Yeah, and it just feels like there's stuff like, I can't say there's stuff I don't do, but like we didn't, like, for example, we didn't grow up in a household that cursed. Me calling my podcast, my other podcast, Random Ass Conversations, was like an act of revolt or something. Like it took all of me.
That's how I felt about my boutique. Yeah. Do you know I didn't say its name for like a year straight?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate doing auditions where I have to curse and Twilla and I has to help me. I'm like, oh, this was awkward. But
Brian, you wouldn't let me help you with one. You like,
because I knew, I was like, nah, you're gonna feel uncomfortable if I do it. And then you're like, yeah, probably will.
I felt like I wasn't gonna feel uncomfortable until you were like, I think you're gonna feel uncomfortable. I don't know if I should, then it was like, well, are you gonna feel uncomfortable? Maybe I don't want to experience this. So yeah, I still don't cuss like that. I don't know. That just stuck with me.
I know there's so many words I want to say though, like they'll be in my head, but I can't bring myself to say them. It's so weird.
So what?
What about you?
I know I cuss, but but I make sure I don't do it around like my siblings. I'll do it like around Lanston. But
what am I?
Top level.
Is that just like? Is that like some old school, like, let me protect your ears type, men don't
I don't know.
Away from the women?
I think Scholastica and Naya are like really good at two shoes on some cases.
I have friends that curse. Nana curses like a sailor. Like,
but just growing up, Scholastica and how strict you were. No, you can't do this. No.
I do understand. It's hard to get your siblings out of your head as they were younger.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so I get it.
But isn't that where, that's where all that trauma comes from, right? From the past. Trauma. So, yes.
Right, you can cuss in front of me. Just don't watch Game of Thrones when I'm in the room. Like, you know.
Yeah, and she won't, I can't watch, like, Game of Thrones or.
Well, that's like bloody. A bunch of, like, nudity for no reason. Game of Thrones. Like,
what about blood?
Yeah, I don't like gore, especially if I'm, like, eating. But also, anyway.
What about a lot of foul language, Naya?
Huh?
What about a lot of foul language?
But I guess it's because I've been around people my whole life. Like my friends growing up, like a good number of them cussed and I never felt offended by it. And it's funny because I feel like as an adult, people pick up that I don't cuss. And so they'll say a cuss word and they'll apologize. Or
like,
yeah.
Or when we go to KTV and they're like, are you editing yourself? Because that's how I had to listen to music all the time. So
let's not sleep on the Walmart
Wayne song. It's really a talent.
Let's not sleep on a good Walmart edit. Those things were hilarious. Like growing up.
Sound effects. Which one did you use?
The sound effects.
Yeah, there's one that always had the sound effects and one that just had the blank. So like a whole verse will be gone. I'm like, I don't know what they said, but the beat was on.
That's funny. I always enjoyed the sound effects version, like of anything.
I only know that for Nelly's Ride With Me. I only know that version.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. Like I do appreciate the way we were raised, because I think it definitely helped instill some, morals and behaviors and things like that. And I don't think that's the only way to be raised, but I do definitely appreciate how we were raised. But I do find myself kind of like, I think I told Naya, like, I just want to like sometimes go off the radar and go to like an island or go to Mexico and just be. And I don't know if that's like feeling like I don't want to like fail anybody's expectations and just want a timeout sometimes.
I'd like to clarify this. Tula said that she wants to sometimes just go off grid completely and not answer the phone for days on end. Like that's a little different.
I do that all the time.
Like you're under a lot of pressure. I don't think it's from us or mom.
But it's also pressure that that I'm pretty sure I created in my head of feeling like I am a certain way, or like I portray that I'm always on and don't fail, I guess.
I kind of understand, but like when I went to China, that wasn't my goal, but I think that's what happened. I was able to have my own thoughts, like decide what was around me. Like, was it that I'm in the South? Was it because I was able to just have my own thoughts and think back and it's like, I don't know if I really believe it, like this thing like this, or I kind of don't care about this thing, so I think that's what ended up being for me. So I think everybody should get an opportunity to do that.
I also feel like you were like the most freest person ever already. Like, so like expectations, like I know you were like an obedient child pretty much, but I also feel like you were a slight rebel in the sense, like if dad was like, don't write on your arm, and you're like, I'm gonna write on my arm. Like that don't make sense. And dad's like, well,
it makes sense. It's hard for me to do, but I don't know, because I feel like I have a very rigid personality and a very like kind of creative. So, but somehow everybody always sees the creative part, but really it's kind of rigid, and it's like a daily struggle, because that's why like maybe my boss was like, oh, you're so free, and I know you'll be so excited to do this, but it's like, but the pressure, I'm thinking that it got to be perfect like this. So that's neither here nor there, but just want to let you know that.
That's interesting. I like all the pressure Tula talks about. I'm like, obviously I can't relate because it comes from her being the oldest. As the youngest, I don't know. I don't ever feel like I have to live up to, I mean, I care about people's how they perceive me and stuff, but it's not like, oh, I got to do this to be a good example, or like, to like, that's not an issue at all. And I kind of like that freedom. Even when
you an example too.
I mean, I'm sure that you guys in many ways do look up to me, but like that's not why I do
think it. That's funny that you say that, because I do think, talking about parental expectations, most of the time I operated in a very goody two shoes way because of my siblings, not because of my parents. Like I want it to be a good example.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like there was any pressure from parents, even though, I mean, I guess, they had expectations, but that's not what pressured me, if that makes sense.
I'd say maybe there's not pressure from them, but like the way I decided to go about like the people that I date, it's like, okay, would they fit in well with my family and stuff like that? So I would look at that type of thing. And if I didn't feel like they would necessarily jive with my family, then I'd be a little bit more hesitant to date them.
Interesting concept.
Isn't that kind of important? You never think, we know you didn't.
I think of that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure like I get like some people it might not be a thing, Scholastica, but for other people what is a thing. So for me that was always a thing. It's like, okay, would they mix well with my family? Because I start thinking about like family reunions and dinners and holidays and stuff like that. You gotta interact, gotta enjoy being with the person. I don't want them to be like, oh, I want to go to your parents are so yada yada, so
yeah.
Lisa, were you about to say something?
It was too late.
So
I already touched on it.
So I guess then like my question is like growing up with the set of expectations that we had in our life, and maybe like the set of expectations we like, how much of the set of expectations that were put on us created the expectations that you have for yourself?
Well, I don't think it was much, to be honest, because I just felt like I always had this like high self-motivation anyway. So like even with school, I know they wanted me to go to school, but I wanted to play football. So I wanted to play college football. I put this tremendous pressure on myself to play college football. And then, just grades, I was competitive anyway. So I wanted to do better than most people. I didn't care as much my last couple of years in high school, but I already had, scholarships. I knew everything's going to be taken care of. But I think it carries on into my adult life, just this kind of like self-motivation. Again, other than what I said before, where just like doing the right things, I do think about, I'm grown, I can do whatever. And it's like, okay, mom and dad may not like this, so let me just chill out, So really it's not too much pressure, but maybe if anything, just pressure to do the right thing.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking to mom the other day about that. It's like, I feel like as much, they talk about nature and nurture. I feel like it's kind of half-half, or maybe sometimes a little more actually just nature, because I feel like I've just always been kind of that way. Like even in school, they didn't want me to work, but I was like, well, I'm not really tripping on these classes like that, so I'm going to go work, and I just didn't want to feel like I was mooching or something like that. So I kind of feel like that now. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I consider people's feelings a bit when I when I make decisions like, oh, this person's not gonna like this, even though I kind of don't care. Let me try to be considerate.
Yeah,
I think that's all that boils down to for me.
Yeah.
I don't think like I've ever felt pressure from them. Probably more pressure for myself, especially like in school, because I just always struggled with school growing up, and so when I found out that I had ADD, I'm the one that actually told mom and dad that I wanted to go to tutoring and all this other stuff. I put the pressure. I guess I put the pressure on them to find a tutor for me or find a place for me to go. And so and I was highly motivated, even to a point where mom will say that the school counselor and I think the principal said that I am highly too motivated, or not too motivated, but they're saying I'm going to burn myself out by trying to take all these courses to get to in order to go to a 4-year college. And then when I got to college, halfway through, I kind of relaxed a lot more with the education part, because I started realizing, oh, there's a lot more to life other than education. And so then I think that's when I just started taking a more individualized path for myself. For me, I realized, I could go back to school and I'd probably be a pretty good psychologist, but it's not something I necessarily really want to do. I feel like it's more of a hobby. So right now I'm just going down a path that's non-conventional, and people might not fully understand why are you going this path? Why are you a substitute teacher right now? Teachers are always like, you're a really great, you could be a really great teacher, you should teach. I'm like, nah, I don't want to. Or I'm starting a business as well, but it's a very unique, different way to start a business, being a sub to this, and all this other stuff. So I think I put I put the pressure on myself, but I put it in a very unique way, I guess.
And I want you to know that you sound like the hippie more so than Scholastica. Your description of the individualized approach to life.
Oh, no. But you know what I think is really cool though? As much as people would be like, oh, your parents are so strict, blah, blah, blah. I think the fact that we don't feel parental pressure, it speaks a lot to our parents. Yeah. Right. They kept us safe. They supported us in our individual personalities and everything like that. We feel safe to explore and really don't have a pressure is mom going to be upset with me that I'm, quitting my job and trying this new thing? No, they love it. And she was even talking about I think Nana actually told me, she was telling Nana this when they were by themselves, and she was saying how proud she is of us, and she loves seeing everybody on their journeys, trying all these new things and stepping out on faith, and just, so.
Let me tell you, our parents, ever since, anytime I would write something or whatever, dad would be like, child, you are so good. You're so talented. Anything that I've ever posted, any comedy sketch that I've ever posted, dad shared it with the world of his 60 Facebook followers. My dad is so supportive. And then if you ever have a question about a job, should you stay or should you go? And mom will be like, quit. You should leave. You deserve to be happy. blow this life thing out of the water. Like, I think like our parents are like so supportive of us. Or even like one of the jobs that I quit a couple of years ago, dad called me. He was like, I think you've worked really hard there. You've done what you were supposed to do. God is pleased. So it's time to go. And I was like, y'all can't tell me nothing. Like, our parents are beyond supportive, and maybe a little too supportive on that. Like, none of us would have a job, but they would be like, just come home. Like, come home and stay.
I think we got a taste of that with the fact that, Scott, like you're saying, they weren't really strict at all and they want us to express ourselves. They would let us ask all the questions, right? And like, even like your little interesting personality, Scott, growing up, some might perceive as like, oh, you're being insubordinate or whatever, but mom just let you have your thoughts and express yourself. If you're angry, she let you talk it out. So I feel like it's kind of like they're just continuing to do that for us as adults. And now it's like that expression of who we want to be and how we want to live our lives. So they're really supportive. But You're right. Dad is like, I feel like dad's like always calling me up randomly and is like, child, I feel like you should write a book. And I feel like it will be, because he knows I'm interested in writing. That was a better accent than usual, Tula. It wasn't Indian.
We're just gonna let it slide. I wasn't even gonna mention it.
I got it in Africa though. Right? So we're getting better. Dad would be proud. But I recently ended a position, and both parents were like, yeah, that's good. And like, and very understanding. Mom was like supporting me more than I was supporting myself at one point. And then when I let dad know after, he just was completely understanding. And yeah, I think that's gonna, I don't know, it almost makes you want to do well for them, right? No pressure, but it's just like, yeah.
As much as they believe in you and as hard as they believe in you, you want to be like, it was worth it. Like all the stuff that you put into us and the way you believed in me and the way, like, even when it came to like, I don't know if y'all remember, I don't think Naya was born. Lansing might have been really young, but I used to put on, I'd be like, let's put on plays. Like, I got 4 of y'all, so let me write a play. Let's do a little performance. We're going to serve mom and dad dinner. Like, the fact that like they always embrace that, or like Scholastica would love to draw.
What was that called? Chef's Kids or something?
Kids Kitchen or something like that. It was a theater. It was dinner theater.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Y'all were young, but I was like, these are your lines. This is what you're gonna do. We'd always have menus. It was the same thing because that's all we could cook, some spaghetti. But just to have like, I mean, even with y'all, like y'all are incredibly supportive in everything and in each of your own ways. Like, I know that getting calls from Lansing, like, how can we invest in this to make this work? And then like Brian always down to like acting something. Brian, can you be in this? I guess. Like, it's just like what I have to do. And then like my sister's always there to like share, or Naya creating posts and like big hyping me up. Like, so it's just like I think that's like something we get from our parents as well, just learning how to support one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed. Couldn't said it any better myself. That's how we're going to end it. I'm just kidding.
Fun.
Well, yeah.
Y'all could wrap it up, but I was just thinking about how beautiful this is. Because a lot of people don't have like, like someone you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go move to China or whatever, or I'm going to move to California. And then it just feels like it can be accomplished. Like, I feel like a lot of people have to struggle to that. So again, it's just like, wow, thanks mom and dad, because they really put it as, plus, dad came all the way over here and just like, anyway, I just wanted to touch on that.
I do. Okay.
One of the funny things about dad, when we were kids, son, you could do anything in the world. I'm like, okay, what about jump out the sky and fly? Yes, son. Yes. Put your mind to it. You can. It's like, can I be an airplane? Like anything? Yes, son. Yes. Like, never get him to say no. I always thought that was the funniest thing. But I guess it went a long way. Also, deep down, having this confidence that you can do anything and be all right. So it's going to be Father's Day coming up. So I just want to make sure that I give dad a nice little plug on the support that he gave me personally. I know he did it to all of us, but me personally growing up.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that dad gave y'all that y'all remember?
Well, like I do know. Oh, who was saying?
I want to go first.
Okay.
Even though I asked the question, I want to go first, guys.
Answer my question.
All right. I just use that so I could say something. But I do remember when I was like really young, I guess I used to just always look down at the ground. And he was like, you know, like men, they look up when they walk. I don't know. That just always stuck with me. It's like, don't look at the ground, like hold your head up high, be proud, you know? Aww. So that's one thing that always stuck with me.
Before.
That's good.
That's good. Well, he always told me, don't care what people think. They're just jealous of you. And I've taken that and ran with it. And so that's been great. It's like, you know, because literally I used to get picked on all the time, but I literally did not care. So it was like, so that was really good. Even just, you know,
yeah. I think one thing that dad always says that sticks with me is like, you know, always have faith, always pray, you know, like God is always there. So just every day you should pray. Every day and then everything, thank God. Cause I think like knowing like dad growing up and he telling us like his life and growing up the way he grew up. And sometimes I used to feel like sorry for him. Like, oh dad, that's you know, you went through so much heartache. And he's like, but I thank God. Like he's always like, thank God for everything. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've always taken and carried close.
That was going to be mine too, Twila. Like, in all things, all seasons, even when, you know, something you could tell it's probably frustrating him or you imagine it would be frustrating him and you check in on him about it. And he's like, oh, well, you know, God will take care of it. And it's like, you just realize like, those aren't empty words. Like mom and dad both, they live on, like, they rely on God so heavily in all seasons. And it's so beautiful. And I think it's really heavily affected me. I don't think I understood it or knew it for myself growing up. But then when you start dealing with hard times as an adult, you realize like, oh, that faith, you got to lean on that. So
yeah.
Dad's always so calm.
Yeah.
I can't even think of a time when maybe once I made him angry, but that was it, like a long time ago.
Won't eat his butter pecan ice cream. Just letting you know.
Yeah, don't do that.
Her own risk.
Sorry about that, Lanston.
Oh man. I tell up for minutes. Bare butt. No, not the
rated switch.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Yeah. I do think like we're extremely blessed. Just growing the way we grew up. Like I love it. I love our parents. They're amazing. I want to provide everything for them. But yet they keep providing for us somehow, like even if it's just in the support they give.
Yeah. You can always call them. They will always be available, pick up, give you advice. Like
maybe sometimes a little too available.
But yeah, it makes me wonder, it's like if I have kids, like I got a lot to live up to. Like,
oh, I'm not doing that. Like they are incredible. Like, you know what?
That might be the parental pressure right there. I don't want to have kids because I know how needy I am on our parents. So, and it's like, I can't just like get rid of the kid, like 18, it's over. No, I'm 34. I'm still here. Mom, how do you do that thing? You know, just like, it says this on the bottle. Am I supposed to take, you know, like always like, yeah. So it's beautiful to experience, but I don't know if I could be on the other side.
Yeah.
I feel that pressure.
Maybe it's because it's like I don't know, but dad was great too. But I just feel like mom, like she wanted to be like a mother. Like that was her number one goal in life. And she just always expressed how much she loved us so much and loved that role. So maybe we see that reflected because we're like, you know, as women, and it's just like, can I do that as well?
No, I can't. So I'm cool with that. Like take that pressure off yourself.
Of it would be pretty solid though, guys. So if you think you could do that, even, you know,
I think they like, at least for me, I don't know, Langston might be able to attest to this as well. They didn't, I won't say they beat it into us to be like gentlemen and like they really made sure that we knew how to like treat women and do a lot of like things like independent of like needing a woman, I guess. Like
I used to hate
you know
that.
how to cook, clean. So what?
You know, I used to hate that when they were like, let your brothers open the door for you.
Yeah.
I'd just be the first one waiting at the door. I'd just be so mad.
And Brian hated it too. Brian would be like, I'm not opening this door for you.
One thing you didn't hate was when we had to do lawn stuff. You definitely loved being inside then, didn't you?
I did lawn stuff though too. I liked it.
No, you didn't.
Okay, ask Dad.
Oh, that's the thing. The girls keep saying that they did cut the grass all the time.
No, they didn't. I did.
I would never say that, Brian.
I did the edge, the little twirly thing. Why would I know?
Scholar, twice a week was when we did it. Twice.
I didn't say I did it every time because I still had to do the inside chores too. But I preferred it though. I preferred outside. And Mom would be like, "No, let your brothers do that." Anyway.
So, I raked a couple leaves. I just want to throw it in there and then I'll.
I did the push lawn one line and Dad was like, it's not straight, move. So I tried, you know.
And our yards, Momo yards, the office yards.
Yeah.
Twice a week, Scott talking about she cut grass.
But don't act like I didn't cut the backyard and the office. And I would cut the front, but you know the hill, Dad wouldn't let me do the hill part.
Oh, we did the hill. We did it all. You gotta count.
But I'm just letting you know I was out there with y'all, not every single time, but more time than your other sisters.
Okay, more time than the other sisters. But overall, in the scheme of all the times we have to do laundry, you're like, I mean, outdoor stuff, you might be like, here.
But look at y'all. Look at y'all, strong, capable men could cook and clean and cut grass. Look at y'all.
Yeah. Y'all can cook and clean, but can y'all do the outside? That is the question.
But I live in LA where people hire gardeners, so I'm good. Yeah. Now my car, like I know how to wash my car, but that's just why, you know?
You drive it through the car wash, right? I know how to wash cars too. So.
You want to just turn the light on? Oh, light off. Got it. Well, guys, as always, this has been a wonderful conversation. Maybe we should have called Mom into Skype, but y'all know getting Mom and Dad on Skype might have been a thing. We'll see. Scholastica, that's your chore whenever we bring them on, is to help them get it well lit.
Okay, yeah. One of these days.
But yeah, I love y'all. I enjoy talking to y'all. I look forward to doing this next week.
Yes, love you too.
Love y'all too.
Yeah, love y'all.
And as always,
subscribe, post, put the comments below. Let us know what you guys want to talk about.